So please welcome on our fantastic stage, Dana Dunne, CEO of eDreams Audio. Big applause, guys.
Hello, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you also to Alex. Thank you very much to the great band. Thank you. So, let me start off with a question, since it's just after lunch here in Spain. Who knows Charles Duell? No? So Charles Duell is known because he was head of the US Patent Office. The US Patent Office in the early 1900s. And what did he say? He said, everything that can be invented has been invented. And he actually proposed in a couple of years to shut down the US Patent Office. So, we are all very fortunate here in this room that he was 100% wrong, and that actually innovation is live, thriving, 116 years after he first said it. Okay. What it also says about innovation is not a right, it's not a decree, it's a way of living, it's a way of being, and it's a mindset. And so I want to tell you a little bit about our company and how we do innovation, because we started just over 15 years ago, and we're actually one of the world's largest today in our segment. And innovation, as well as execution, has been really at the core and one of the key reasons of why we've been able to get from a startup to being so big in our industry. So, with that, let me go through in terms of who we are first, just to give you a little bit of context of how innovation has really driven us forward. So first, financial. Okay, so we have about 4.6 billion euros of gross sales. We've got 100 million euros of profits, and we grow at about 10% per annum. Market. We're one of the largest travel companies that there is in the world, right? We're number one in flights in Europe. We're one of the largest in flights in the world. We're number one or number two in most European countries. We also are one of the largest e-commerce companies that there is in Europe, and we're rated number one in our segment for customer satisfaction versus every single other competitor or pseudo-competitor of ours. And then in terms of operations, you can see the scale that we manage, and we only get there through innovation. We manage 325 million keywords. We do about 34 SEM bids per second. So that is bids in Google. We bid 34 times per second in Google. Now that happens not because we have, a million people somewhere just typing away. It's obviously because we have very sophisticated automated machines that are actually doing and managing most of this. And again, we've done that through innovation and really pushing the boundaries. We do 1 billion monthly searches on our websites. We do 7 billion pricing calculations per hour. Our systems are set up to have 120,000 peak searches per second. Okay, that's per second. And we can run simultaneously on any given day 3,600 different ABs. ABs meaning tests. All of this is really due to create some type of consumer value, right? Some type of kind of different business model that actually gives real meaning and real value to consumers. So here are just 5 quick things that you'll see how innovation has driven us to give value to customers. So first of all is, on average, one passenger return flight will save the passenger, the buyer, 134 euros versus if they went to an airline website. Right, and tried to buy the same ticket. We will also offer many more choice. So on average, if you look at airlines, go to an airline website, they'll offer you on average 3 flights a day. Many of the top 10 airlines have only 1 flight a day for many routes. We'll give you on average 8. And again, it can be much, much more. From the time you start entering in some details, meaning origination, destination, dates, etc., to the time you click buy takes less than 100 seconds. We benchmark ourselves to all of the competitors in the industry. They are not 10% slower than us. They're not 20 or 50% slower than us on average. They're 400% slower than us on average. And so again, that's one of the ways in which you try to innovate around certain parameters to offer some real consumer benefit. Many products and services that we launch every year, and we keep updating our products, which I'll get into a little bit later, and we offer 24/7 customer service. So, why is innovation part of the core of us? It really comes from the start of which is where were we born, so to speak, as a company. We were actually born and founded in Silicon Valley. That's not our home base today, but we were founded there originally. And then over time, as the company grew and developed, we realized that there was far greater opportunities actually in Europe, and I would actually say outside of the US, really. So we started migrating, and we established our base in Barcelona, and over time we've grown, and we've grown tremendously. And so now we have most of our offices and people are actually European-based. In our Barcelona office, we have 65 different nationalities. Okay? So not only do we also innovate around ideas, we innovate around lots of things, including processes, including recruitment. And so we run a global recruitment function to attract people into our company. The most important thing, though, about this is that for all of us in this room, there are people, be it in Silicon Valley, be it in any other location, that are trying to innovate and are trying to put your company, your business, and you ultimately out of business and out of a job. And that is the stark reality, right? Is that capital is very freely flowing throughout the world, and there are people that are constantly innovating and trying to figure out new business models and new ways of doing it. So if it's not part of your business, if it's not part of your company, it's not part of you, you could wind up on the negative side of it quite quickly. So, how do we do it? There's lots of different things in here, and I feel almost like three things way oversimplifies how you create an innovative culture, an innovative company. But nonetheless, I've tried to bring this down into a short period of time, and so draw out kind of three big lessons. The first one is ideas and ideation and how you manage that in order to have a good set of ideas to go through. The second one is around large development and making certain that you have a platform that takes these ideas and allows multiple ones to go through seamlessly, simultaneously, in a very quick way. And then the third one is about the quickest delivery, so that every idea, from ideation to execution, needs to be at world's best speed as well. So I'm going to go through each of these in order. So, ideas. Okay, so what in the world do these things mean up here? So these are just some acronyms that we have within our business. The first one is BOSTA. So it is a mantra that we have, which is big or small, test always. We test absolutely everything we do. This is not about me as the CEO of the company saying, I have this great idea, let's go do it. No, and that scares the hell out of me. Instead, we test everything, and we give no priority to my idea, to someone else's idea. Okay? We test. Let data decide. Do not let opinions decide. And that is a very clear thing we do. The second one is just simply the summation. We absolutely believe that it's the addition of things that get you to it, as opposed to the big idea. Right? We do not want anyone or any team to go away into a deep, dark corner and think like they've baked something up and they come out with voila, the answer to everything. No, break it down into small pieces, minimal viable products, and just get on with it. And do it and get feedback, refine it, move forward, and move forward with quick. And it's the summation of all of those things that will get you through either a business model change, a new product, and or just even a modification of a feature set. The third one is critical. It's everyone. Every single person has the right and the obligation to participate in innovation, to participate in ideation, to give feedback, to give ideas. That is absolutely critical. And this is not about just developers. This is not about POs. This is not about people in a product organization, in a user design organization, etc. This is everybody. If you are in finance, if you are in HR, if you are in et cetera, it is your obligation to participate in the ideation. Now, why? Why would that really matter? I fundamentally believe you can't have two streams of a business. You can't have this one part of the stream of the business where it's going over and trying to think of really cool ideas to implement and modifications, and then you have the rest of the business operating at an entirely different speed that's not responsible for innovation, that's not responsible for really greatness and really great improvements. You have to make it the entire culture of the company. Everybody needs to participate. So how does this manifest? A number of ways. One is if we do a hackathon, everybody is invited. Hackathons, we expect people from HR, from finance, et cetera, to participate in this. They bring a different set of skills to the party, a different set of perspectives, experience, et cetera. They should absolutely be contributing to it. And this is throughout the product ideation process. Anybody and everybody can absolutely interject. But the second thing, and very important, is that innovation is not just customer-focused, customer-facing. It's not just in terms of ideation. It's in terms of, if I take an HR process, why can't we be the best in an HR process? Right? Maybe recruitment, it may be whatever. Why can't we be the best in terms of finance? Right? And you can innovate around processes, you can innovate around procedures, you can innovate around company culture, you can innovate around a lot of things. It is not just about an end customer product benefit. And so it's very important to make this the drive of everyone. Everyone needs to participate, and that needs to be the culture of the company. The last one, FBLQ. Fail, but learn quickly. It is absolutely cool to fail. There is absolutely no problem whatsoever to fail. You need to do it quick. You need to learn from it, right? So we do not run tests on and on and on that continue to be loss-making and failures. We want to cut them off. And we want to learn from that and make sure that that gets codified and the lessons are learned by everybody. And then we quickly then think about what do we need to do different in this. I, as a CEO, get very concerned if I do not hear about failures, because that means that too many people are being risk adverse, not pushing the envelope, not challenging, not trying to do something new and different. It's not always going to work, and that's absolutely fine. But so it's absolutely critical to create a culture that really allows failure. There is not a penalty for failure. What there is a penalty if you don't move quick and you don't learn from it. In terms of ideas, it's really also about matching in terms of what we can do and what a customer really wants. And so we do that obviously through testing, through live testing, going right and having something on our website. But there's other ways in which you can get data as well from customers. And so we've invested in a state-of-the-art user design customer research laboratory. And so that means that in Barcelona, we will have about 400 people, maybe 300 people, every month coming through us. And so that means several days of week, it will be occupied with focus groups, with a certain set of individuals, and we'll always be showing them and testing and getting ideas from them, as well as mock-ups, maybe live things, etc. It is state-of-the-art. We benchmark that with Amazon. and we want to stay at the world's best in terms of that, because research and customer insights is so important. What a customer says they want and what a customer does or behaves are two very different things, right? Me included. And so it's incredibly important that you have all of the learnings in there, the tools and capabilities in the team to be able to separate that out and to make the right decisions really quickly on this. What this allows us to do is then to run a whole series of A/Bs, a whole series of tests that we actually run on our platform that are live. And we can run up to 3,600 of those tests simultaneously in any one day on our platform. So the second part about rolling out. Lots of companies I've been associated with, when you try to run a global business, they develop something once, they then refine it, they develop it again, they refine it, they develop it again, etc. We have invested tremendously in our platform that underrides everything. And so we develop once and we push out. So what does that mean? We develop something once and we push it out across 5 brands instantaneously. We cover 44 countries instantaneously, over 130 websites instantaneously, 20 languages, 30 currencies instantaneously. So we develop once. We do not want to develop once, then develop again and again and again. Similarly, we do not want to develop once, modify slightly here, modify slightly there, modify slightly there. Next one. Time to market is so critical. And so we absolutely need to make certain that on process, the process from ideation to go live is as short as possible. So again, we benchmark ourselves with among the world's best, and we've made some recent process improvements. And so you can see here, in a short period of time, 70% reduction. There are some things, according to our benchmarks, among the world's best that we do, and we push the envelope that we're the best at. There's other things that we're not the best at in the world. But that's absolutely our aspiration. We continue to push it so that we can do it. We do, on a given year, we will have over 1,000 releases. So we'll have sometimes, 10 to 15 releases in a day. And then each release will have 4 to 5 different product changes for each release. So you can imagine that we have almost 5,000 either new product launches or product modifications within a given year. So how does this come up in terms of not just big ideas and business model, right, that I talked about at the beginning, about how we give unique and differentiated value to customers, but it's also about the little things and continuous improvement of the products. And so here just gives you some idea of some of the changes. I'm not going to go through all of them. Heat maps is just a way of looking at hotels, which is unique and different. It's had a massive, massive take-up and really has spiked tremendously. No one else offers that. Recent searches, again, when you look at it for the travel business, is that people don't typically book the first time that they search. They do many, many searches, and so they have to re-enter in all their details. It's just something small, simple, but on our sites and in our app, we store all of your searches. So when you come in, you see your searches. If you want, you can just tap on it right away, and the search is launched. You don't have to enter in any of those details. Again, it's not a big modification, but it's a small little ones, and we have hundreds of these things that go through each and every day. Flight notifications, again, we will give notifications for free to customers on loads of different things. One of them could be your bags. If you check in a bag, where your bag would be on which belt when you land if you've booked in our app on the mobile. So it could tell you in Singapore, it's on baggage belt number 5. Again, not a big deal, but we're the only one in the world that does that for most flights flown in the world. We do it for 90% of flights flown in the world. And we were the first and only one, I think, still to do it for that large a spectrum of flights. And lastly, let me just touch on another area. So process and behind the scenes is really important, and leveraging technology and trying to innovate around it. I would imagine many of your lectures today, the presentations have been about AI, about machine-based learning. I've sat through some presentations at other conferences, and I understand what companies do on it. I find that most of them are really not pushing the boundary of machine-based learning, and what they've done is they've just taken the old type of algorithm-based development, and they call it machine-based learning or artificial intelligence when it really is not at all. It's just a nice way to kind of relabel some old world type of stuff. But if you really have self-learning algorithms that really define things, and if you use RFs really to its maximum potential, you start pushing the boundaries and you really can do it. We have RFs in many parts of our business running. So we don't just have it in one or two areas, but many parts of our business. And we've been doing this for a number of years, way before it became cool. This just gives you one simple example of one area where we brought down in a matter of time about 75% the cost and it grew revenues as well. We do this though in a number of areas. And again, I believe that it's really important to look at leveraging, not in terms of just, kind of the cool consumer product, but also leveraging technology to do something in a discontinuous way. Anyway, with that, I know this has been a real quick run-through in terms of innovation. I want to leave you again. It's a mindset. It's a day-to-day type of thing. It is not a 20-minute presentation or talk at all. But with that, I want to thank you very much and wish you all the best on this. Thank you.